Hello! Welcome back to another episode of Quick Spin, the Autoweek podcast that gets to the essence of the automobile. Today, we are talking about the McLaren 620R with the great Mark Vaughn. You can take a look at this McLaren right now at our Instagram page. That's at Autoweek USA. And hey, while you're there, why don't you head over to our Facebook and click that like button. That way you get all the great Autoweek content we deliver daily. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about this McLaren in just a second, but first we have to pay the bills. Want to join us and our friends at Road and Track at annual testing events, epic automotive events like the Quail, and for excursions around the world? Join the Track Club by Road and Track. You'll get first dibs on all these ultra-exclusive experiences, full access to premium print and digital contents, tons of privileges and perks, and the opportunity to virtually chat with the best auto editors in the world. Hop on into the Track Club by visiting roadandtrack.com/autoweek. That's ROADANDTRACK.com/AUTOWEEK. And Mark, tell me about this McLaren 620R, a race car for the road, they say.
Yeah, and that has good and bad qualities, being a race car for the road, because everybody says, oh, I want a race car for the road. That's what I want. You know, I want it to be fast, man. But you do want it to be fast, but you really, when you think about it, you want some creature comforts. And when you get a race car for the road, you give up a lot of creature comforts, like that you didn't even realize you had, like sound insulation, comfortable seats, ease of ingress and egress. But it is fast and it is lightweight, and by golly, it's a heck of a car. But all McLarens are. I'm a McLaren slappy. Well, and also a Ferrari slappy. And, you know, whoever else wants to give me a car, I'll be a slappy for probably. But these things really stand out. They're extraordinary. All McLarens. I'm talking about all McLarens. At least all of them that I've driven are remarkably great at road holding and steering. The brakes never fail. They all share this twin turbo rear mid-mounted twin turbo 3.8 liter. So, but there are different tunes to that, but the power to weight ratio is extraordinary and will flatten your eyeballs and squash your brain and do everything. Every other analogy you can think of will happen because this car is so cool. So anyway, you get it all with this 620R. You get speed, power, looks, beauty. Mine was black with bright orange trim, which is exactly the same as the original Batmobile from the 1966 TV series starring Adam West.
And Mark, I will have to stop you there because that is what they call a perfect segue, because you give us a quick walk around and you lay that on the line. Let's jump to that walk around.
Sitting in my driveway right now in front of me is the McLaren 620R. Have a look at it. Well, have a look at it through my words and my eyeballs. This one is painted up in what can only be described as Batmobile colors. This is from the 1966 television Batmobile, not the more modern ones, because it's all black with very bright orange accents sort of all over it, down to the brake caliper covers. On top is a huge scoop slurping in air, carbon fiber, of course, scoop. Up front, actually the whole outside is all given over to aerodynamics. That's all you're looking at here. There's nothing here that's simply decorative. There's a huge front carbon fiber splitter with what some people would call flicks, other would call dive planes on the front. That adds, I think it's over 140 pounds of downforce to the front. There are nostrils in the hood routing air up and over the cabin, vents on the front fenders, huge intakes on the side of the car, and on the back is dominated by an enormous 3-position carbon fiber rear wing that is said to add more than 400 pounds of downforce in its most downforcey position. Let's open up these dihedral doors and try and crawl into this thing. There's this, it's not even a bucket, it's more like a clamshell that is the seat. Climb into it as gracefully as you possibly can over the huge carbon fiber door sill. Slide your buttocks into the seat. This one, I think, is the wider of the two seats available. I have the 3-point belt. You can get a 6-point belt. And if you get the 6-point belt, the only way that you can close the door is by grabbing this big, bright red piece of webbing that I did not need to grab. Inside, you'll see some familiar McLaren things, fixtures, the shifter paddles, all the stalks for turn signals and lights, and raising and lowering the car. The front end has, instead of the 32 position racing shocks, the front end has the more conventional dampers from other McLarens that allow it to raise and lower the front end so that you can get in and out of the driveway of your mega mansion. The center console, this one includes an infotainment audio system, but you can get it without that so that you can, save, what is it, 4 pounds? I don't know, some ridiculously small amount. The center console itself is carbon fiber, has the 2 big twist dials to adjust the handling and the performance buttons. You just push the active button and then twist it over from normal to sport to track on either one of those buttons. There's a launch mode, and let's see what happens when we hit the start button.
And I'm, for one, excited to hear you drive this thing in just a little bit. But, Mark, you've been in, I would argue, most, if not all of these so-called race cars for the road, and I would assume some of the race car variants. I mean, most recently we've seen the Ford GT, which was legitimately a race car for the road, that they almost a homologation special. How does the interior of this McLaren stack up to those also Spartan, supercars or race cars in layman's terms?
This wins the Spartan Award. This could be in the movie Spartacus or some other Sparty kind of movie. If you had a dog named Sparty, this would be his car. It's just, there's nothing in there. You do get the console. So this one, like I said, had the sound system, Bowers and Wilkins sound system, which, if I'm not mistaken, is like $4,000 or something. There are a couple of concessions. This one has climate control, for instance. But apart from that, it's brutal in there. But you like it.
I do. But obviously, with the McLaren 620R, the focus is not necessarily how comfortable it is or how it looks. Obviously, it does look fantastic. It is how it performs, which we're going to jump to right about now.
Here we go. Well, that certainly came alive. It slid a little bit sideways there on launch and kind of kept going and really felt and sounded great winding out there to what must be the red line. I didn't look down to see, but it was very impressive. I have no doubt that it could hit 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, the claimed time, and get to 124 miles an hour in, 8 seconds for 124 miles an hour, 2.8 for 0 to 60. Top speed 200 miles an hour, which I did not attempt, for the record. And then when you stop, it's got the auto start stop, which you can disable, but I find it's nice on this car because it's so loud on the inside. Alrighty, we're back in the McLaren for a quick little speed run here. Got to set it out of normal. And sport. Here we go. Hang on. Oh, here comes a car. Dang it. Some little dinky. That's not even good enough to be a rental car. Okay, we'll see what we can do here. Hang on. Really quick, quite quick. Back down to second gear. ladies and gentlemen, the McLaren 620R.
If there's a young person in your life who's really into cars, give them the gift of R&T Crew, the ultimate subscription box by Road and Track for kids ages 6 to 10 every other month. A box is delivered to their door and is stuffed with cool accessories, fun activities, and a magazine chuck full of facts, stories, games, and more. Sign up now to receive the all-new Snack Attack box and enter code Autoweek for 10% off an annual box subscription. Just head to rtcrew.com, that's rtcrew.com, and use code Autoweek. A couple things about this little drive review. One, was that your radar detector?
I did have the radar detector with me at all times in this thing, even though it's a really old radar detector, and I don't know if it picks up garage door openers a lot better than it actually warns you about. Right? But yes, that was radar detector, and this really annoying proximity beeper thing that just goes off all the time. And there's got to be a sub menu that you can turn it off. But I was not able to find it. Sometimes there's a little button there you can turn off the little beeper, but not on this car. So yeah, you heard a lot of sounds in there. The overall thing about this car. Well, you actually have a question about the overall thing on this car, don't you?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in just a second. We got to knock out a few more of my questions. This is a lightning round, it seems. How did this thing feel? You know, most race cars not exactly soft on the suspension. It seems like this is a very firm little ride, especially on these canyon roads. How's it feel? How's it feel in your body?
It's a workout. More than a workout. It's like you had a bunch of very short people with very big baseball bats hitting you the entire time you're driving around in it. Now, I sound like I'm complaining, but I'm not, because that is all forgiven as soon as you go around your first corner. It's just amazing. Now, you talk about all the aerodynamic downforce on this. The mechanical grip is what is most impressive about this, because really, who goes around a corner at over 100 miles an hour? I mean, maybe you do, but very few people actually can find a place to do that. Even if you're on a racetrack, there aren't that many high-speed corners. You know, our local track here, Willow Springs, they've got a few very high-speed corners where you could benefit from the aerodynamic downforce. But the mechanical grip on this thing is just astounding, really amazing, and that's what's going to make you keep coming back for this. Yes, granted, it does look cool, and if you like driving around in a cool-looking car, you will not be disappointed. But the main draw of the McLaren, in my mind, has always just been, any McLaren, has just been the way it feels going around a corner or on a twisty mountain road, or on those rare occasions when you're lucky enough to take one around a racetrack. That is what they are made for. That you can trace all the way back to Bruce McLaren's genius, and it's still very much with us today in the spirit of this car.
But on a quick spin, we try to get to the essence of the automobile, and the McLaren 620R is no exception. So, Mark, I ask, what makes this McLaren so special? What's its raison d'etre?
It's a race car for the street. Race car for the street. 5 words, race car for the street. And all that entails. And a lot of that is uncomfortableness, but all will be forgiven once you go around your first corner. Guaranteed.
Well, that sounds good to me. That's a reasonable argument. But I think that's a good place to put a pin in this one. Mark, thank you for spending time with the 620R. I know it's challenging, but somebody has to do it.
I'm glad to sacrifice for our listeners.
And speaking of sacrificing for our listeners, if you guys could head over to Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to this bad boy, click that 5-star button, leave a quick review. I will happily give you a shout out and say nice things to you, unless you leave a mean review, and then I will beg you to fix it later. Also, if you can head over to our Facebook page, click that like button. That way you get all the great Autoweek content we deliver daily. And I know I say this often, and I know I say it at the end of every episode, but without your listenership, none of this would be possible. So thank you for listening.